We spend a staggering £670 billion a year on hotel holidays.
Relaxation, pampering.
You've got the pool, the bar, the restaurants, you've got your lovely comfy bed.
That's the whole point of staying in a hotel, to be looked after.
Switch off and relax.
With over 700,000 resorts around the world to choose from.
I just love getting on a plane and escaping somewhere.
Waited on hand and foot in a beautiful location.
Different cultures, different people, tasting new foods.
Whether it's five-star swanky opulence
I want cocktails on tap, I want a swim-up bar.
or a homely B&B.
I need peace, I need quiet, and not too many people.
When these holidays go right, they can be heavenly.
This hotel was unbelievable.
The welcome was amazing.
Bathing by the pool, eating really good food.
What more could one want?
But when they go horribly wrong,
the building has collapsed on its side.
It can be disastrous.
You could hear the hurricane hitting the hotel.
It was like World War III.
Evacuate, evacuate.
We've got first-hand interviews with people.
Mould at the bottom of the curtain, all up the walls.
We were having to sunbathe on a building site.
It's -13 outside, middle of winter.
They just said your reservations have been cancelled.
Whose hotel getaways were doomed.
They just erupt over all of the sunbeds. Everybody fighting with one another.
Took me down, flipping me over and over, but I hope to God I'm not paralysed.
Be our guest as you check into when hotel holidays go horribly wrong. The hotel holiday is a chance for us all to live our best lives and relish a few precious days of R&R. And if soaking up the sun is your idea of paradise, you'd be hard-pressed to beat the Greek islands.
They are so beautiful. The water's crystal clear, the food's amazing, the people are great.
And for many, the island of Zante is particularly smashing.
Zante is really good because it's got a big party side to it.
And up for having it large was Ivonne Burgess, who, along with husband Frank, had a lot to celebrate.
We decided to go to Zante on holiday because it was my birthday, my husband's 60th birthday, and also our 40th wedding anniversary. We'd been to the hotel before. We had a fabulous time there last time. Let's go back there and make it special.
And the sociable duo were eager to include fellow guests in their celebrations.
When we went to the hotel last time, meeting lots of people, it makes the holiday.
For many people, they go on holiday for the social aspect. They go on holiday to have fun, to make friends.
With expectations high, Ivonne was raring to get the party started.
I told everybody how fantastic this hotel was because we had such a brilliant time there last time. It's got 3 bars. It's got 2 infinity pools.
Ready for revelry, Ivonne and Frank set off on their all-inclusive celebratory trip, where upon arrival at their favourite hotel, the couple were chuffed to receive an upgrade.
The room we booked was a really nice room, but excited to see what the premium rooms were like.
Ooh, and?
That opened onto the infinity pools.
Raring to go, the party pair decided to start their celebrations with a splash.
I said to Frank, there's not a lot of people around. Because the infinity pools were so quiet, we took a walk up to the family pool.
This is the other pool, and no sign of any other guests.
There was nobody in the family pool either. My first comment to my husband when we seen how quiet it was we won't be fighting for a sunbed this year. There was absolutely nobody.
The trouble with going back to somewhere where you've had an absolutely lovely holiday is it might not be quite as lovely second time round.
A little bit of panic sets in. Why are you the only people here? What is the problem with the hotel? Why has nobody else booked it?
It's supposed to be a 4-star hotel.
Ivonne and Frank thought no more of it and got themselves ready for a night at the hotel's usually bustling bar.
We still made the effort, got changed, went out for dinner, but when we got to the bar, the indoor bar was closed. We were expecting entertainment, live music. There was absolutely nothing on. I've never seen the hotel this quiet.
It must be such a strange experience to go back to a hotel that you know and love, but to see it in a completely different light.
Alarm bells started ringing, something's not quite right.
Was it something I said? Do I smell? Where is everyone? What's going on?
Ivonne and Frank didn't want to take any chances for her birthday celebration.
We asked the receptionist to call us a taxi to take us into the nearest town so we could go out and celebrate. And when the taxi arrived, he was really surprised at getting a call to come and get us. When we asked him why, he said the hotel was closing down.
I think it's appalling to be taking bookings when you know that you're going to close down.
I was astounded that nobody had thought to tell us or give us the opportunity to swap hotels. Why have they allowed us to come and there's nobody here?
It is not acceptable when they know they're going to be closing down.
This was the final piece of the jigsaw for the couple and explained their deserted surroundings.
It did have an impact on my birthday. Normally, we'd have made friends by then. So last time we went, the friends that we'd made celebrated with us. This time, it was just the two of us in town, going from bar to find somewhere to have a nice drink.
Yvonne's birthday hadn't been the knees up she'd hoped for, but surely a new day would bring an influx of new guests.
When we got to breakfast, there was absolutely nobody else in the restaurant.
I have a lot of sympathy for Ivonne and Frank. It must have been pretty miserable for them.
As you can see, the shutters closed.
Apart from the block that we were staying in, the shutters were down on all the windows, all the doors were locked up. It was just deathly silent. It really was a ghost town.
This hotel looked like something out of The Shining. It was completely deserted.
And watch out, because here's, well, no one, actually.
We've seen the couples leaving, but didn't see any new arrivals. You then begin to think, we're going to be the only two left.
Shutters closed.
To find that you're the only people in the hotel must have been really shocking.
If you think you know what you're getting and you turn up, it's not what you expect, I think somehow you feel a bit duped, actually.
Yvonne and Frank took their Greek tragedy to the hotel manager.
They offered to bring us a bottle of wine and some fruit as a gesture of goodwill. That, to me, is not compensation at all.
This is a couple who are on an all-inclusive deal.
That's just pathetic, frankly.
But the responsibility lay elsewhere.
They booked their holiday through a tour operator, and the tour operator now are the ones who are responsible for making sure that what they've booked, what they've paid for, is what they're going to get.
If I return from a holiday and I've had a really bad time, for me, keyboard warrior, I'm going to write an email and see where I can go with it.
Which is precisely what Yvonne did. And after her case was escalated to arbitration, Yvonne's tour operator resolved the complaint with a full refund.
Although it was a victory, it wasn't really a celebratory victory. We've come back with more traumatising, happy memories. I've never experienced anything like it. It was the holiday from hell.
When you've worked hard all year, choosing an all-inclusive hotel holiday is the best way to make sure that you have everything you need, so you can just sit by the pool and enjoy the sun.
We all go on holiday to switch off and relax.
A hotel holiday should be seamless. Everything is taken care of. It should make you feel like you're on a proper break.
And Lindsay and Brian, who run their own business, really needed some quality time away to relax with their son Charlie and Lindsay's parents.
We do probably 50 hours a week. When you're working that hard, you look forward to your holiday.
We haven't really had a holiday in 2-3 years.
If you're a family, you want to have an all-inclusive package where you can get food and drink on tap.
Nice family resort, just somewhere where we could relax by the pool and just spend the days sunbathing, really.
Being able to fly and flop, get to a hotel and literally enjoy all of the facilities in one place takes a lot of the stress out of a holiday.
We picked this hotel specifically because it was family friendly and had a lovely pool area, and also it had a pool bar that you could swim up to.
We like to swim up to the bar, just have a relaxing drink in the peace and quiet with our son playing in the background. It was a 4-star rating. You do expect a certain level with all the bars being open, the restaurants being open.
We saved up and it cost us about £3,000.
The holiday was booked. The hotel had 4 stars. All that was left to do was sit back and look forward to a much-needed break.
We arrived in the evening. First night, everything looked okay.
We went down to breakfast and everything was fine. And then at about 9 o'clock, we heard the cement mixer starting. We all looked at each other, didn't we, and thought, uh-oh. And then we heard the chiselling and the hammering, everything else starting.
Typically, hotels don't want to close for rebuilding, for maintenance, because it costs them money.
The last thing you want when you arrive is to find that nothing is as you'd imagined it would be.
Best way to deal with it is talk to the manager ASAP.
And that is exactly what Lindsay did.
The hotel manager was of the opinion it's just maintenance that has to be done.
At that point, the pool bar was still open. A lot of the amenities were open, so we were thinking, yeah, we might be OK here.
However, on the third morning, this horrendous pneumatic drilling started that was so loud we couldn't even hear each other talk.
No. It more or less pierced your eardrums, it was that loud. And it wasn't just on and off, it was constant. More than one drill from sunrise till sunset.
They had screens all around the half of the pool. The pool bar had been closed.
They'd completely closed the left-hand side of the pool, so all the people who had been sunbathing on the left-hand side then had to come over to the right-hand side. Looking for sunbeds was more or less impossible.
The noise was just horrendous.
We wanted long, lazy days next to the pool, but instead we were having to sunbathe on a building site.
If you go to a hotel and a quarter of it is open because the rest of it is under construction, that's a problem.
It was absolutely ridiculous. I went back to speak to the manager. The manager did agree to change us to a half-board hotel, but for a €2,000 cost to us.
It can be really hard to address the situation, and you will often come up against brick walls.
You can say, that was the worst hotel I've ever stayed in. And the management can say, well, what are you going to do about it?
It's hard not to get angry about it.
We are a family who try and make the most out of every situation.
So in the end, we just decided, look, we're going to have to go to the beach just to try and get away from everything.
Going to the beach, paying for your sunbed, paying for your drinks, paying for your food, ice creams for Charlie. We probably spent another £600-700 on top of what we'd already paid for the all-inclusive hotel.
I don't expect to be sold alive.
If I found that facilities weren't available and I'd booked thinking they were, I'd be seriously miffed.
I'm spending my hard-earned money.
Despite everything, Lindsay and Brian were determined that they would do their best to give the family the best possible holiday.
We did make the most of it. I've got good memories, but the overshadowing memory is of all the work going on around the pool and obviously all the drilling.
We really feel like we've been cheated out of our holiday. So, yeah, it couldn't have been any worse, really.
It was really a hotel from hell.
Following their humble beginnings at the tail end of the 19th century, the popularity of holiday camps in the UK exploded after the Second World War.
We've been in love with the holiday camp here in the UK since the early 50s.
The holiday camp was the most exciting thing I knew about when I was a kid. Everything's just laid on for you on site.
By the end of the 1950s, there were hundreds of camps across the country providing an affordable, all-inclusive family getaway.
Chalets, which are a bit like barracks.
Parents knew that their kids could go off to the paddling pool.
You don't need a passport.
Entertainment for the adults.
You're not going to get Mediterranean weather, but you'll be having so much fun you won't even notice.
Today, the holiday camp industry still thrives, with holidaymakers searching out a budget staycation with a healthy dose of fun activities on the side. One person hoping for a few relaxing days by the seaside with her partner was Lucy Russell.
I just really fancied a little getaway, maybe 4 days to a week. The place looked nice and the surrounding areas looked absolutely beautiful, so I just thought this one would be perfect. It took me 5 hours to get there. I hired a car, had a lot of planning on places to go while I was there. When I arrived, the first thing I noticed was the amazing views and beaches nearby. And then I saw the resort on the other side of the road and my heart dropped. Everything looked just really run down and dirty.
There's mould growing in a poster.
It was just shock after shock.
Camera in hand, Lucy decided to document the camp's disgusting state.
There was a lot of rubbish everywhere. Lots of weeds growing out of buildings. It really wasn't a good first impression of this place. Broken swings, some of them were tied on by cable ties to keep the swings together. It was really unsafe for children.
Look, glass all along.
There was glass not far from the play park that had come out of a smashed window.
Disheartened by the camp's exterior, she headed to her accommodation. But before she even opened the door, she could tell all was not well.
I could see mould at the bottom of the curtains.
And once inside, Lucy discovered the true extent of the filth.
The smell was, it hit you in the face.
To turn up somewhere and see the place full of mould.
Absolutely horrible.
Dirt everywhere, hair on the floor, vodka bottles on the floor.
A tissue and filters. Oh, look in that corner.
Absolutely revolting.
The floors look manky.
Shocking.
Marks all down there. That is broken.
When I opened the kitchen unit, it just fell apart in my hands. It just all felt like a nightmare, really.
Look at the state of that. That's just filth.
I don't think that apartment had been cleaned at all.
Disgusting.
Dirty.
I would literally walk straight back out of that door.
It looked awful.
There was a small, tiny little bedroom, and there was mould all up the walls. There was no sheets even on the beds at this point.
It was like a blood stain or some sort of stain.
And obviously I didn't want to sleep in that even if it had a sheet over it.
To think that someone else has been sleeping in there, their sweaty body hair all over it. No!
Look, it's just filthy.
Disgusting.
Even the big main bedroom was worse.
Great presentation.
The bed wasn't even made. The duvet,
And obviously not a very clean duvet at that.
was shoved in a heap in the middle of the bed.
Gross.
I would not stay there.
There was mould all up the walls on the side. All the windows had mould on them. The curtains were mouldy.
Oh, look at this side, it's even worse.
It was not fit for human habitation.
So we're now going into the bathroom and look at the state of this. The toilet has tissue in it. There's marks all on the seat. Look at the bath. It is just grimy.
The bath was dirty. They hadn't cleaned the bathroom at all.
For anybody who is paying good money for somewhere to stay is that it has to be clean.
It should look as though no one has been in there before. You are the first guest.
Utterly dispirited by the filth, Lucy headed out to find some entertainment, but found the camp deserted.
Having to sleep in there, it actually made me ill. I couldn't breathe properly. So after 2 days, I decided to go home. I'd had enough already.
I can't believe she actually managed to stay there for 2 days.
A couple of minutes, a couple of hours, that's more than enough.
I think I'd have gone straight home.
There are certainly health implications for staying in mouldy and damp accommodation.
Lucy packed her bags and cut her getaway short.
For this to be happening at a British property where they're charging you money is just unspeakable.
One of the most disgusting places I have seen.
If it was free, it still wasn't good enough.
It doesn't matter how much you pay, you just want it to be clean and just a nice place to relax.
And it seemed Lucy wasn't the only one who was unhappy, with complaints galore appearing across the internet.
I put a complaint into the resort, telling them about my experience, and I never heard back from them.
That room obviously was not fit for human habitation.
They should be providing an experience that is going to enable people to say, hey, I want to go back there.
Looking at the evidence, you just think, well, of course, have all your money back. We're really sorry.
It was not something that anyone should have paid any money for whatsoever. It was a disgrace.
Much of the fun of a hotel holiday is in the anticipation of what the accommodation will be like.
You want somewhere that is picturesque, it's clean, it's luxurious.
And you also just want it to be like an escape, you know? A home, a nice home.
A hotel holiday is everything you could possibly want. You just Forget all the normal cares of life.
And a hotel holiday is 100 times more exciting if the hotel in question is in New York City.
New York is absolutely the city destination that everybody wants to go to.
I think one of the loveliest bits about New York is that you can find a little bit of everything there.
We know New York is the city that never sleeps.
And a hotel break in the Big Apple is exactly what Beverly Hadley and her daughter Katie of the Stourbridge Dance Academy had to arrange when their 16-strong dance troupe had been invited to perform on Broadway.
It took about 2 years to plan altogether, from the start to finish.
Getting the opportunity to perform in New York, on a Broadway stage, in the heart of it all.
And they was just so excited. So it literally was like, yeah, come on, let's go and do this.
Urgent scrimping, saving and fundraising had to be done by the group to raise the substantial funds needed to pay for the trip. The anticipation amongst the group of teenage girls was palpable.
The children was really excited to go somewhere that they only see in movies, really. All the lights, all the fantastic performances, all the things they wanted to do. Yeah, a very, very exciting time for everybody.
We wanted to stay in Times Square itself, which was literally a street away from where we were performing from Hard Rock Cafe. So it was all nice and local for the children to be safe.
It was New York Fashion Week, so it was a busy time. So the fact that we got a hotel with all those rooms available, yeah, that was brilliant.
After many agonising months, the day finally arrived when the 16 girls aged between 13 and 17 and their adult entourage reached their destination, a landmark 4-star hotel right in the centre of a very wintry New York City.
This is it, we're here, we're ready to check in, the hotel's beautiful.
We got into the foyer, sat them all down. I said, well, I'll just go and check in now and we'll get to your rooms and you'll all be okay. Got to the desk and they just said, I'm sorry, your reservations have been cancelled. And I was like, no, there can't be. I've got a booking form. I've got everything here, the paperwork. It says it's all here. I've got booking reference.
The hotel had no record of their booking.
What am I going to do? I've got all these children. Most of their parents are in England. They haven't got a room. They're obviously texting their parents. And I'm literally, what do you do?
About 10, 20 minutes later, I can see my mum walking over to us, shaking her head. They've got nothing.
It's your worst nightmare. You just can't even believe that this is going to happen to you.
With 16 young girls, some as young as 13, and no room at the inn, they thought that their only option was to rest in the hotel lobby.
The hotel don't want us in the lobby at all. They're trying to get us out of their hair, out of their way. However, it's now 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. It's minus 13 outside. It's the middle of winter out there. Thick snow on the ground. It's just not a place we want to be with so many children and no means of getting them anywhere.
It was clear a major booking cock-up had occurred. But as far as Beverly and Katie were concerned, they were blameless. So were doubly determined to wait it out until the hotel came up with a solution.
Around the midnight mark, the manager came and said, look, the best we can do for you is offer you the conference suites. We'll stick some roll-out beds in there. It was the only option we could take. Get your heads down, you'll be fine. They've got their head down, we've shut the door.
With the girls in the conference room, the adults had to make do with a brightly lit corridor.
You're trying to sleep in an open corridor in a hotel. The lift's being used. You can hear it ding every 10 minutes. Workers are walking past, cleaners are walking past you, and you're sat in this bed trying to get some sleep. You're in a foreign city. You don't know who anybody is walking past or how safe you are.
And this uneasy feeling was about to get a whole lot worse.
We hear screaming. So we've run in a panic. What's the matter? What's going on? And there's a cockroach climbing up the wall. Again, the girls are still hysterical. If the ones that did fall asleep are now woken up again.
Despite the cockroaches, lack of sleep and stark strip lighting, the Stourbridge group were all still in one piece the next morning.
We thought, let's go and sit back in the lobby. remind the hotel of our presence here, that, you know, we need sorting out by someone. We need some help.
So they marched down to reception. Fortunately, Beverly had a plan to persuade the reluctant hotel staff to help. During the night, she had collected some bargaining chips.
Nobody was talking to us, they were all ignoring us, so I just got a cup full of cockroaches, went downstairs to reception in my nightwear, and I said, what would you like me to do with the cockroaches? At the reception. So then the manager came out, ushered me away because everybody was checking in.
Keen to avoid embarrassment, the hotel manager and his staff swung into action, and one by one rooms were found for everyone.
I would be livid.
Those ladies who are responsible for those group of kids, I mean, they literally deserve a knighthood.
It went really tango uniform, as they say in the travel industry.
Despite their run of bad luck, the girls were determined to not let it ruin their trip.
By the time the evening had come and we'd all got a room, I think we just tried to make the best of a bad situation.
The next few days were a lot more fun for the girls. The travel company offered each of them £250 in compensation, and the show that was 2.5 years in the making did indeed go on.
The performance was brilliant in the end. They performed their little hearts out and they were amazing.
When it comes to Brits on holiday, we love 3 things: sun, sun, and sun.
We are just literally a nation of people that worship the sun.
And one of the most popular destinations for British sun worshippers is Gran Canaria, one of a group of small Spanish islands off the coast of northwest Africa.
The Canary Islands are a real popular choice for us Brits. Year-round sunshine, beautiful scenery, wonderful beaches.
But finding the hotel for your fly and flop holiday is crucial. It has to have just the right amenities.
The classic fly and flop holiday involves you flying out, flopping onto that sun lounger, cocktail in hand, looking out onto that beautifully sparkling pool.
For someone more used to taking care of other people's needs, a week looking out onto a sparkling pool with a cocktail in hand is exactly what busy mother of 2 Joanne Kennedy was seeking for a modest 1-week break in Gran Canaria for herself and her children.
I spent a long time searching for this hotel on the internet and thought it looked smashing. Perfect. Got everything that we need.
And when Jo and her 2 children arrived at their Gran Canarian hotel, it looked like her long hours of online research had paid off. So, top mum points for Jo. Let the holiday commence.
I check in, they give me directions to my room, and it's across the other side of the swimming pool. I thought, nailed it for this holiday. Look, kids, we're going to have a smashing time here. There's lots to do, and look at this beautiful pool.
Eager to get started on her long-awaited holiday, Jo was up at the crack of dawn.
I wake up the following morning, thought, I'll just let the children sleep. I'll pop out on the balcony, have a look. I look over the balcony and there is quite a group gathering. Why are there so many people out at 6:30 in the morning?
How mad that this is, just like ants. Never seen anything like it.
Absolute mayhem.
Look, we're all like bloody locusts. Never seen anything bloody like it in my life.
It's absolutely mad.
They're literally queuing up with their towels to lay down to get the best sun lounger.
I mean, what a nightmare. That is not a holiday.
The fact that the hotel have got everyone penned up, waiting to race and get the sunbed, means that they're fully aware of the situation.
The hotel in question seems to have made it into something of a sport.
They just erupt over all of the sunbeds. Everybody fighting with one another. All coming from every direction. Every direction. Towels flying across. There's a chap, he's in a white t-shirt. He slips on his bottom and goes sort of underneath the sunbed. He broke his toe. It would literally take 2 minutes and then every bed was taken. They'd all gone, nothing.
You're not going to queue for a sun lounger on holiday.
Get up every day at 6 a.m, stand in a queue just so you can put your towel down on a sunbed.
I want to be enjoying breakfast in bed, not wrestling with a fat, sweaty man over a sun lounger.
This early morning race for sun loungers so annoyed Joanne, she had to vent her frustration somehow.
I would ring my husband every night and complain about how shattered I was and how stressful I was finding it. And he just didn't get it at all. But you're on holiday. You're in the sun. Why are you ringing me and moaning? I wanted another holiday when I got back.
When you're planning the perfect getaway, the ideal way to spend it is in a 5-star hotel resort by the sea.
A hotel holiday really should be luxury.
I want cocktails on tap. I want a swim-up bar.
It should be escapism.
A good balcony, a nice pool. I mean, the list goes on.
Even if you can't afford to stay at a luxury hotel, you can often just pay to go there for the day and enjoy the facilities, which is exactly what students Chris and Hannah decided to do.
The first time I've been away with Hannah, been together for just over a year at that point, and was really excited.
Your first proper holiday with someone you love should be one of the greatest experiences of your life.
Chris and Hannah's destination of choice for their dreamy hotel holiday was the beautiful and romantic island of Cyprus.
Cyprus is my motherland. I absolutely love it.
Beautiful blue seas.
The history, the scenery.
The sun is shining.
So welcoming and friendly.
We're staying at my aunt and uncle's villa. We were able to go to different hotels and use their beaches and facilities, so we spent a lot of time on the beach.
On the last day of their holiday, Chris and Hannah chose to spend a day at a luxury hotel complex down on the beach.
The resort was just down the road, about 2 miles away. We could actually see it from the roof terrace of where we were.
It's a big social hub. They've got a spa, lots of different activities.
Got a sunbed, rented that for the day. Bathing by the pool, eating really good food.
We wanted to spend as much time as we could in the sun.
And staying at the same hotel was security guard Stephen Cross, who was enjoying a well-earned holiday with his wife.
This hotel was unbelievable. It had an infinity pool on the beach. It was spotless, beautiful. It was a lovely night. We went down to the entertainment on the beach. There was acrobats, jugglers, music, singing, dancing.
We had a lovely day there, very worn out from all the sunbathing, so we decided to head home.
Finished packing, had a shower.
Got an early night, ready for our flight the next day.
With Chris and Hannah back at their nearby villa and Stephen and his wife tucked up in bed, the holiday makers looked forward to another peaceful night on the island.
And then about 1:30 in the morning, the noise was unbelievable.
Initially, I thought, gosh, is someone trying to break in?
I thought it was a thunderstorm. So I said to my wife, close the curtains, because the curtains will act as a barrier.
And then it got louder and, you know, the room started to shake.
As I went to close the curtains, I got thrown back onto the bed.
When you feel something shake you, that's when it kind of grabs your attention.
Bang!
I got up, sat up, and you see an orange glow fall through the curtains.
My uncle knocked at the door and said, guys, you better come out here and have a look at this.
Whoa! You get that?
Yeah. At that point, the panic set in and we thought, OK, something bad's happening.
It's like waking up from a nightmare.
As a war just broken out.
Just these huge explosions.
The sky was alight, and I thought, someone's invaded northern Cyprus. Whoa!
It was nothing like I've ever seen before in my life.
Someone started banging on the door. Evacuate, evacuate.
Jesus. Big mushroom clouds, one after the other after the other.
It was like World War III had started.
Unbelievable.
You'd see the mushroom clouds start to form, and about 3 seconds later, then you get shockwaves hitting you.
There's the police and...
Yeah, the fire has come down. I knew that there were lots of villages around there and that I could see that the police were blocking off the road.
Whoa!
I was worrying about all the people, the villages, not being able to get out of the explosion area.
Stephen, his wife and the other residents of the hotel were evacuated to the beach by hotel staff.
When we got on the beach, there was a concrete purpose-built toilet. So I said to my wife, let's go in there.
It was just constant explosion, sirens after sirens, boom after boom.
We kept in that toilet all the time.
In the end, the hotel residents spent the entire night sheltering in the beach toilet block, not coming out until the following morning.
When daylight come up, shrapnel, the hotel was covered in it.
It looked like a battlefield, something you expect to see on film.
Every window in the hotel was gone. You could see all the glass was just hanging from the balconies. During the day, families was just leaving the hotel. There was just coaches going and going. They didn't want to stay there anymore. They didn't feel safe.
In 1974, there was a war in Cyprus and the island was divided into two halves. I think that probably made the explosions going off even more scary.
But it wasn't a war or an invasion, just a very unfortunate accident from a fire in a military base. The fire went on all night, and it hit the headlines the next day. Thankfully, no one was killed, but 12 people were injured.
Turned out, behind the hotel was an army ammunition dump. What caused the explosion, we don't know, but they got bomb disposal down because they didn't know if any of this stuff was still alive, so they closed the beach completely. I've never seen devastation like it. The main thing was no one was killed.
Every time a firework goes off today, it just reminds me of the sound of the booms. Boom after boom. I'll never forget that.
Holiday hotels play host to all manner of milestone events. And for many a bride, tying the knot in a luxury tropical location is the icing on the wedding cake.
Getting married is the biggest day of your life.
We've all dreamt of having a beautiful wedding on the beach at some point.
Sun shining, blue sky, surrounded by their family and friends. It's the stuff of dreams, isn't it?
Which is exactly what James had in mind for the big day with his fiancée, Kate. At their favourite 5-star Mexican resort.
We visited Mexico back in 2016. We were looked after fantastically. The pools were nothing that I'd ever been in before. The most amazing food, restaurants. The entertainment was fantastic. We completely and utterly fell in love with the resort.
Mexico is an astonishing country, and the great draw for so many British people is astonishingly good weather, superb beaches, and fantastic hotels.
Because of the amazing holiday that we had, we decided to plan our wedding there.
And bagging a spot on their 5-star nuptial guest list were James's family and their 14-month-old son, Jude. With a plethora of reasons to return to their desired destination, the excited duo set about organising the big day.
We started the process with the tour operator. We also had a wedding planner. We were pretty much reassured from the start. Literally, don't worry about anything. We'll look after you. It was a case of us waiting, getting on the plane and going out and having a magical time.
After months of organising and the all-important dress chosen, the duo was ready for the special day that neither would ever forget.
We came in, the welcome was amazing. We were just excited to be able to get to the room, start enjoying the holiday. We started walking, and straight away we could hear construction work and the drilling. They'd got big fences all the way around the pool. Hang on a minute, what's going on here? It wasn't just the main swimming pool that was completely under construction, but it was all of the residential apartments as well. It was a complete building site, and we were shocked.
The hotel was, in fact, nothing like the luxury location the couple remembered from their previous holiday.
It was such night and day contrast to where we'd been 2 years earlier. The interior was dirty, the settee was broken, the curtains were ripped. It was pretty disgusting. This was the situation that we'd walked into. but also it was a situation that my family were going to be coming into as well.
You've got your own vision of how wonderful and romantic it is going to be. And if you find the reality is a load of men turning up and switching on pneumatic drills and generally causing mayhem, well, that is just going to shatter your dreams.
I cannot even imagine how upset, angry and disappointed they must all have been.
Hoping to be relocated to the newly renovated and quiet hotel wing, James made his way back through the rubble to reception.
They weren't happy to relocate us because they wanted £1,000 more. I was just of the mindset that these are just not going to have one more penny, regardless.
The thing that doesn't come across is the constant brick dust and the smell of solvents, which is everywhere.
With his requests falling on deaf ears, James took another route and logged onto the tour operator's complaints group.
I put a video onto there showing exactly what we'd walked into. Within hours of me posting that onto social media, I was then getting messages from the media back home in England saying, "My God, can't believe this. Can we get in touch with you and run a story?"
Whilst his plight created headlines back home, in Mexico, James's mum was arriving ahead of the big day.
I was greeted by James and he said, "Mum, it's a nightmare." We kept thinking, this can't be happening, this can't be real. How can you end up in this situation and no one will do anything about it?
The company cannot send you somewhere where there are going to be large-scale building works.
Here we go. These building works were absolutely constant.
Of course, there's a tricky legal definition where it says reasonable amount of building work would be tolerable, but this is off the scale unreasonable.
12:30 a.m. and this is what's happening.
In spite of everything, the family resolved to make the best of the bad situation.
The actual day of the wedding, we all had full-length dresses. My son's fiancée, of course, was in a full wedding dress. We walked our way along, holding our dresses up to try and avoid the dust and the dirt. There was oily stuff on the floors.
So obviously the long train on the wedding dress was ruined.
For a bride, the wedding dress is probably one of the most important things about the wedding day.
To think that that wedding dress would get damaged in some way probably doesn't even bear thinking about.
Finally, the bride made it to the beach for the couple's coastal commitment ceremony.
The actual wedding itself was not really what I envisaged.
The newlyweds and their family had shelled out a whopping £17,000 for what should have been their dream beach wedding.
When you think about your wedding day, you're expecting to be really treated very special. That's what we envisaged, that's what we were expecting, and that's what we paid for.
It was all going to be idyllic, and in reality it wasn't.
To be quite honest, we were just looking forward to getting on the plane and actually heading home.
To just have the whole day completely ruined by the situation, you'd never get over it.
The couple never did get over it, and just 2 years later, the pair split, leaving James heartbroken, and his claim for compensation now the last thing on his mind.
It just saddens me to this day that what should have been a fantastic memory, sadly, it just didn't turn out.